All right. So today, I thought I'd pop on here and talk about past and future focused thinking. Super good stuff, you guys. Um, do you know if you're past or future focused? How can you tell? Right? We all have stories about our past and who we are. So if I were to ask you, who are you? Where does your mind go? Does your mind go to the past to define yourself? Do you define yourself by the present? Do you go to the future? Where does your mind go? Um, so what happens is when we set goals for ourselves, we often do look to the past. Like, well, I've never done that before. I don't know if I can do that because I've never done it before. Think about all the things in your life that you had never done before you actually did them, right? Everything's possible. Everything is possible. So if you say things like, well, that's just how I've always done it. Um, I've had this issue my entire life. I've always struggled with my weight. That's a lot of our stories. It's my story, right? So when we're defining ourselves by our past, we're not really creating the future selves who we really want. So let's see. And I'm just kind of looking through my book here because I want to just highlight some of the really good things that you can take away from this today to implement into your life to start thinking about your future selves, right? The first thing you want to know is the past is over. The past is done. The past only exists in our thoughts about it, right? We get to decide what we want to think about our past, what story we want to tell about our past, and how is that story serving us now, right? Um, so if you think about a past event in your life, the only meaning it has is the meaning you're giving to it now. And so those are things that I like to talk about with my clients. Like what happened? What is the meaning you're giving it to it now? I keep messing up that sentence. You know what I'm saying. And we can really explore that. Like, what meaning are you giving to this event that happened in your life or this story that you have about your past? And we'll really explore that. And then what do you want to make it mean? And and then we can go into like our future selves and what would our future self say about this event? So those are some of the things we like to explore together, my clients and I. An exercise you can do is to write down the top 5 outcomes you want in your life, right? The 5 most important things you want to have happen or make happen before your time is up, right? Because that's just the reality. Our time's going to be up at some point. It just is. Um, so you can just decide like what are the top 5 things I want to do. Maybe you want to have kids, maybe you want to generate a certain amount of income, maybe there's certain trips you want to take, maybe there's some sort of spiritual connection you want to create in your life. um, Maybe there's a weight you want to be at. This is one of the things I work on with most of my clients is loving ourselves exactly where we're at. And then from there, we get to create our future selves and our future lives and what our future weight is going to be. Maybe you want to change your job, whatever it is. Think about what are the top 5 things you want to create in your life before your time is up. And we call that an outcome list. What are the top 5 outcomes you want to see in your life? So then think back to yesterday. What did you do yesterday? Make a list. What were all the activities on your calendar, or what was on your calendar? What did you actually do? And create a list. What were all the things that you did yesterday? And how many of them were really directly related to what you're telling yourselves is the top outcome, or the top 5 outcomes, or your main goal that you have? How many of them are directly related to that? And how many of them, the things you did yesterday, were just maybe busy work, maybe avoiding doing some things, maybe just things that were expected of you from others, right? Um, the truth is, it's so morbid. The truth is, our time is ticking. Every minute is precious. It's so precious. So you get to decide who you want to be in this moment and in the future. And you also get to tell yourself who you were in the past. So sometimes we judge ourselves over the choices we made in the past. And I used to judge myself. Had this whole victim story, and then I was angry with myself for being in that story and a lot of the decisions I made. Now I just think of it and I think I have so much compassion for who past Melanie was and the choices she made and the decisions she made in her life, because she did the best she knew how. Even the times maybe I might have made decisions that really weren't aligned with my best, I know that deep down I was doing the best I knew how to do at that time. Hey, Amanda, yes, time tracking can really help us see when we are buffering. So much buffering, so much. And one of the things one of my coaches said about this time tracking is start with yesterday, because it's good to keep tracking from here forward, because we're going to be more intentional about it, right? If we make it an intentional thing to track our time, it's good, because we're going to be so much more intentional about how we utilize our time. But start with what you did yesterday when you were paying no attention to what you were doing, if you weren't tracking your time. So it's a really fun exercise. I don't know if maybe fun's not the right word. It's full of self-awareness, though. Full of self-awareness on what you really are spending your time on, and if you are really future focused. Are you really doing the things that you want to do that's going to create that future self and create the goals that you want to have in your life? And goals don't have to be like monetary goals or weight goals. Your goal could just be, I want to be more present in my life. I want to be more present with my kids. I want to be more intentional with my interactions with certain people in my life. Like, those are amazing goals to have, right? So you get to decide. Um, I like this exercise too. Here's another fun exercise you can do. Create a list of 25, 50 things. We'll say 50. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. Create a list of 50 things that you want in your life. And on that list, I want you to include things you already have. Like, you could say, I I want to create a business I love. Maybe that's something you already have or something that you want. Either way, it's totally available to you. Um, I want to have a dog. want to have a dog. Either way, things that you already have. I want to be married. I want to have a certain kind of car. Like my dream, I want to have a Jeep. I don't have one. I want to have a car that runs. I have a car that runs. And then I can add, I want to have a Jeep one day because that's what I want. So I want you to mix that up with things that you already have and things that you want, because want equals lack. And sometimes when you feel that lack, it's hard to really move towards achieving those goals because our thoughts create our results. So, back to the like watching our time, right? Tracking our time. Sometimes we're just so busy surviving our lives that we're not being intentional with our lives and intentional with our time. So it's just really important to notice how you are spending your time, and is it in service towards those goals, towards the things you want to create in your life. Yeah. So that's what I just was thinking about today. It was our weekly lesson in class today. I can talk to you further about like a future diagram type thing you can do in your life. But what I want you to take away from this really quick live is how to be intentional with your time, or at least notice, let's become aware of how you are spending your time. So do that time tracker thing. Go back to yesterday. How did you spend the majority of your time yesterday? And was it in service to what your goals are and what you truly want out of your life? Some of us don't even know what we want. We're so busy just surviving. And we don't even know what we want. So we just take whatever life throws at us. We're just riding it out in the passenger seat. And I know we know that life is short. And it kind of sounds cliche, like life is short. Yes, it truly is. Like I smacked in the face with that when I was diagnosed with cancer. Or maybe you've had a loved one who's passed away and you know that life is short. So important to be so much more intentional with creating the life we want. So do that exercise. Where are you spending the majority of your time? And is it how you want to be spending it? Maybe it is. Maybe you're like, yeah, it was perfect. Maybe you want to work 3 days a week and be super intentional about those 3 days that you're working, and have 4 days off that you are super intentional about the other things you want in your life, the connections, the connection with yourself, connection with your family or your friends. Okay. February, the month of self-love. I've been talking a lot about connecting with yourself, loving yourself, starting with that love for yourself in everything you do. Treating ourselves with love and compassion, like I just talked about our past selves. Maybe you made choices in your past that you want to judge yourself for. But you can have oh so much compassion for who you were at the time and what you knew at the time. Maybe you were just trying to survive. So just always coming from love and compassion for ourselves. And then you can be ever so intentional about who you want to be and what you want to create. And what you want to achieve in your life before your time is up. Okay. So those are a couple of exercises you can do. Another one that is great to do is write a letter to your past self. You can write a letter to your past self, thanking them or letting them know, like, hey, I'm really angry at you for this. Maybe you are angry. Let's that's something we can work through. You probably don't want to be angry at your past self, because guess what? Yourself right now in the moment is your future self's past self. Think about that. Kind of a mind-blowing concept when we really start getting into future self, past self, present self type things. So you can write a letter to your past self. I have an exercise for that. And you can write a letter to your future self or from your future self to you. There's so many fun different exercises that I love to do with my clients and with you guys. Anyway, hope everyone has a fantastic day. Well, just the last thing I want to say is when you are intentional about your time, it actually opens up so much more free time for you. Because so often we think, oh, we just want to be spontaneous with our time. Well, maybe I won't feel like doing that thing that I put on my calendar that I think I should do. And I want to say, yeah, you're probably not going to want to do that thing you put on your calendar. But the more intentional you are with your time, the more it does open up and free up that free space in your time. Thank you, Amanda. It's funny, it looks very brown, but it's actually supposed to be maroon. I love this color. I thought of you a lot when I picked out this sweater. So, okay. All right, you guys, I love you. I'm gonna just stop rambling now for today. I should call this like Wandering Wednesday thoughts or something, because that's pretty much all it is. All right. I love you guys. Make it a great week. Talk to you soon.